You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me as always is my co-host, Chrissie. How are you today?
I'm okay. I woke up having been transported to the top of the Mackinac Bridge, and it's pretty cold today.
Ooh.
But I'm pretty sure it's just one of the students being prankish.
Shame it wasn't Alcatraz. That would be warmer.
Just trying to be local. How are you doing that?
Well, I shenaned earlier, so I think I might be shenaning again.
Yes. Always good to shenan again.
Also joining us today is writer, Trek fan, and Tuvok superfan, Benjamin Nielsen. Benjamin, thank you for coming back on the show.
Thank you for coming back on the show. Thank you guys for having me so much. I was going to do a lot of the echoing, but I feel like that's not going to be as funny as the technical problems are going to make it out to be.
No, I feel like that would get old to both us and the listeners very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Before we jump into our topic for the day, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make the show possible, particularly associate producers Carl Wonders and Christie De Clerck-Szilagyi. Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10. And your subscription of any amount at patreon.com/BQN keeps all the shows on the network ad-free. Alright. Well, it's been a week, and I don't think there was any Star Trek news in the last week.
Not that I can recall.
So, let's jump into the show.
Yeah.
Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 3, Vitus Reflux, or Vitus Reflux, depending on which character in the show you ask. Benjamin, what did you think of this week?
I really quite enjoyed this week. It was interesting because, so I have been enjoying Academy overall. I think because of Strange New Worlds, I have approached this one a little differently than maybe I have approached Star Trek in the past, in that I'm much more focusing on, like, is the show sort of achieving the goal it's setting out for itself. And I think actually of all of the Treks in the sort of streaming era, this one has the most defined goal, at least in my mind, or like it has a very strong thesis statement right up front. And so it's been easy for me to sort of see, like, oh, this is where we're heading, and I think they're doing a really good job of heading there. And so this was no exception, and I really quite enjoyed it. When Thad sort of suggested that the third one might be a good one for me to talk about, and then I saw that it was all about a prank war, I was like, oh, that's fantastic, because I think pranks are always annoying and terrible. But it was really interesting that they yeah, they used it in a way that was cool. And so I really quite liked this episode for a lot of different reasons. But how about you guys?
Chrissie, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite of the series so far. I don't like pranks either. I'm maybe to paraphrase Captain Ake, I have too much empathy with that type of thing. But they certainly handled it. It was done in an intelligent way and a thoughtful way, and I like that. It also reminded me of that old adage of if you have to bury a body in your yard, make sure to plant endangered species on top of it. That is not advice. That's just a thing that sometimes people say.
I mean, legally it's not advice, but it's probably legally, a good idea.
Yes, legally it's not advice. Yes, and you know what? That could apply to a beloved pet who has passed away after a long and happy life. So there's a body does not have to be a. I'm digging a hole here. I'm gonna stop.
Well, yeah, because you got to bury that body.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Need to do that.
nefarious.
Oh, God. It doesn't have to be nefarious. Thank you. That's the word. There we go. Anyway.
So yeah, I also don't like pranks, but I feel like I certainly would not want to be involved in any of these pranks or anything like that, but I do feel like the way it played out was I'm perfectly happy watching this sort of thing, because none of these pranks were all obviously pranks from the start, because the one thing I truly hate is embarrassment humor. But there really wasn't that here, because everyone knew it was a prank to begin with. No one was like, yeah. So, I mean, yes, obviously there's being, beamed in your underwear or less is embarrassing, but not in the same way. Not in a, yeah.
Not in a cringe way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching this. I enjoyed the setup for the pranks, the heist way that they do it and all that. I'd say this is probably, of the episodes so far, this is probably my second favorite after the pilot. I think they did a good job, and I think this show is just really working for me.
Yeah, there was an interesting vibe with the entire way this episode was structured, in that it's clear that sort of the writer's room seems to have at least one fan of the movie Starship Troopers. Because there were so many visual cues to that, right? But it was also, I mean, just in terms of like messy rooms, rivalries, showering, training grounds, recruitment videos. But it was interesting that it didn't seem to actually engage with those themes. It was just a sort of visual palette that they were working with.
I was almost expecting, would you like to know more at the end of that recruitment video?
Exactly, right? And so that was fun to see that they're sort of like, they're taking these other sci-fi pieces that obviously are going to be responsive to the audience who's watching the show, but they don't feel the need to then just copy it, which is a thing that some new sci-fi shows have gotten into trouble with, of like, we're going to take the vibe and then just do a less good version of the episode everyone likes.
Yeah.
This was, we're going to take the vibe and then do something very different, which I thought was successful.
Yeah, and that's very good, because Star Trek should not copy Starship Troopers whole. Like, I do not need to see the satirical Star Trek playing on fascism. I don't need that in my life.
No, we have serious Star Trek saying that fascism
exactly.
is bad. Although, if it would get the point across these days, anything that gets the point across that fascism is bad, I'm down for.
Although I will say, last summer at the Shore Leave Convention here in Lancaster, several Starship Troopers actors were there in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and including Michael Ironsides and Casper Van Dien and Dina Meyer, and there were some people like there was a lot of discussion about whether or not Starship Troopers is a satire. Because
What?
Yeah. Well, no, there are people there are people who have no media literacy, okay?
Well,
it's really
I'm aware of that one.
The
Yeah.
only way I can say that.
I mean, that's frankly also an argument from the time, though. There were a lot of movie reviewers in 1999 who kind of either were like, it's not satire enough, or were not quite understanding the satire part of it. And so I think that it's one of those things that, like, people haven't quite gotten it for a while.
Those are the people who thought that the Colbert Report was real.
Well, that's how he got invited to the...
I know. Oh, I know.
We're hitting that millennial tangent pretty early on in the recording today.
Hey, well, Chrissie's just tying it back into the episode.
I am. And actually, yeah, full circle. It was with Colbert's voice, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, listeners, if some of you don't know that Starship Troopers is a satire, and you also listen to our podcast, I'm very surprised. But just so you know, yeah, Starship Troopers is a satire. It is not, in fact, actually glorifying fascism.
Yeah. Unless you've never seen Starship Troopers and don't know what we're talking about, in which case it's fine that you don't know what it is.
And if you've only read the book and haven't seen the movie and are very confused by what I just said, yes, the book does glorify fascism.
It's true, I forgot about that part. There's one person listening going, oh yeah, that's me, okay, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, the Heinlein novel is very pro-fascist. The Verhoeven movie, very much a satire. We start off this episode with exercise routines.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of sad when we find out later, because it's Darren writing a message to his parents, and we find out later that they aren't reading any of them. And he's talking about how he's getting up first. He's the first one out of bed, and he's going to exercise, and of course he
drink raw eggs.
Yeah. When I was a child, I ate however many dozen eggs. I don't remember the line.
Yeah. 4
He's
dozen
be
eggs.
roughly the size of a barge eventually, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that, okay. I just wasn't following your reference at first. Now I know. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I had the whole thing and sang it, 1, you would hate it, but 2, you would probably have gotten it.
And we would have also gotten a copyright claim.
My takeaway from that scene was that I'm kind of my friend group right now is constantly just talking about how much protein they have to swallow down every day, and so the idea that you're still putting like powder into a thing and then shaking it up in the future is the most dystopian thing I've seen in Star Trek for a long time.
You'd think you could just replicate the finished product.
Yes. I understand having like a water bottle that you're not replicating every time, although I would, because it's cleaner. But
I would replicate the
especially
cold
if you're
water bottle with no same.
Yeah.
So presumably it's just like a ritual thing, right? Like this is just part of his I'm waking up. This is part of the waking up process, which seems like sense because that character does seem to be part of his self-regulation method is that he's incredibly dictated and regulated, right? So
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it that.
But still, even when it happened, I was like, oh Lord.
I have to say there are a couple of times in this episode where we have lost, and this is, I know I'm beating a dead horse on this one, listeners, I'm sorry. We've lost merchandising opportunities here. Okay.
I cannot believe, well, I can, but
yeah, how
are they gonna showcase those Warp Core pajamas and not let us buy them?
I know. The water bottle, like there's a half a dozen at least different water bottles hoodies, on the website. But the jackets, the Letterman
varsity jackets, like what is going? Why?
The workout clothes.
Disco shirt. We had 2 different versions of the disco shirt on day 1, and anyway.
Yep. So the merchandising, they do not understand that the people that are watching this may actually have a great deal of like student debt, but are still willing to spend money on stuff like this.
But they like a little treat.
Yeah, Paramount, if you're listening, I will buy Warp Core pajamas as soon as they go on sale. Like, immediately.
100%. And I will also very happily buy a little plush of the Vitus Reflux.
Aw, yeah.
Especially if it's got a little, like, voice recorder thingy in it, and it'll talk back to you.
I would buy a plush Lapling.
Oh, yeah. And a Megatu. I mean, they could do a Megatu too. I know we've had them before, but why not? Yeah. So it's gym class, which made me cringe because that was always my least favorite part of the day.
Same. Why does Sam have to exercise?
Yeah. Camaraderie. I mean, I get that from that standpoint, and also it's like maybe if there's for the same reason she joins the game. It helps her to learn interaction with everybody.
So they play it for laughs, and they point out, and there's no rule a dog can't play basketball, but it in fact should be cheating for her to make herself permeable in the game.
That bothered me. That did bother me.
I lumped this in with like why was she allegedly showering? It's like it's a data thing, right? We're like just experiential knowledge based.
I took a bath for the first time.
Yeah.
I want to be humiliated in gym class for the first time. Why not? Look.
Well, I mean, it is about her, learning about these things.
And it has been nice that, like, in the grand tradition of Trek, that character does really, I think, need to be part of the show, right? It's the comment on humanity character, and so Sam's doing a really good job of that so far, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're sharing the gym with the War College, and I guess the way the War College is, it used to be the War College's gym, so there's going to be the rivalry. They're using up half their space. The Vulcan guy, Benjamin, you said what his name was earlier.
It's either Bavi or Baavi. I don't know if we got that out in the episode, though. That's from IMDb.
I don't believe it's ever spoken.
Yeah.
But the Vulcan guy has an excellent burn. Where he says, "Do you find it challenging to run while also debating the ethical ramifications of hurting the floor?"
So as resident Tuvok Sass aficionado, I feel like that one is slightly too long. It's logically sound, but as a quip, it's a little long. And I will say, unfortunately, Bobby got to pick it up because I think of his various strikes this episode, they did not all hit. Even though there's one I think that is a pretty obvious winner later in the episode. But in general, he's got to boost those numbers to be a little Tuvakian. He's got to bump it up. Yeah, got to bump it up. Yeah. I'd like to see some growth there.
He's probably only like 30 or something in Vulcan years.
He's probably only 52. He's a baby.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that Darum fell in a bowl of Fruit Loops, and there's some stuck to his arm. So Fruit Loops survived to the 31st century. That's great.
I like to think there are like certain trends where like they go out of fashion, but every 30 to 50 years, Fruit Loops just come back.
Fruit Loops never really goes away.
Yeah, they're inevitable.
I'm sure those are healthier. I hope they're not, though. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, I mean, no, they still have to have somewhat, like, more than your body's recommended amount of sugar in one bowl.
Yeah.
Daily sugar. Like, otherwise, what's the point? But yes, Fruit Loops always, but Fruit Loops in sci-fi always make me think of Stargate SG-1.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't even go there.
Because of the time loop episode where...
It's all Fruit Loops and blue Jello.
So I liked the little ad. I thought it was very interesting that the emphasis on spiritual was a picture of an Orion playing chess, 2D chess, which by most modern definitions would not be a spiritual thing, nor are Orions known as being a spiritual people. So I liked that was a dichotomy there. And her comment that something is on fire all of the time and everything is on fire some of the time. Yeah, working at colleges, I agree.
The like educator, the educator part of your brain went, yup.
Yup.
Do you know do you have colleagues like Ake?
Yes and no. I don't know anybody who's quite that relaxed. But definitely people who are like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to do my thing. I don't care what anybody else says about it. Done. I'm kind of that.
Fair enough.
I have to be very careful because I'm not tenured, but
Yeah, you just have to start taking your shoes off.
I have been known to take my shoes off in my office with the door shut.
Fair. Okay, there you go. You're basically a lanthanite at this point.
I know, yeah. That's nothing but trouble.
Yeah, and the best line of the whole episode is, of course, Lurathok saying, they shenaned once, they'll shenan again.
Yeah. Very nice. And the tea?
It's very much just, the tea was great, but also just like throwing my, tiny droplet of water in the vast ocean that has to be the fan reaction to Lurathok. I was a fan of her, as a stand-up comedian, and so I'm really glad that it's really, really hitting on the show. But absolute MVP in a way that I've not, like, this is surpassing Pelia MVP status for me, which is like the highest compliment I can give. And there's just enough like Frau Farbissina in the character, but also like I don't, the actress Gina is not playing it for laughs. I think the writing is playing it for laughs, obviously, but Gina's playing it like it's deadly serious, which is usually my kind of comedy in general. And so I'm just really digging it. And then obviously our sort of revelation, which I think came out a couple days before in an interview, but revelation that like these two tired, lesbians are together. I'm like, something speaks to me. I don't know what it is about that, but it's like they designed this couple for my sensibilities.
I love that pairing. They're beautiful together.
Was that the big millennial reference you were waiting to make? Was Frau Farbissina?
Oh, no, that may have been. Yeah, there might be more. I can't. There might be more, but yes, it was a Frau.
Part of me wants to go the whole episode without referencing Harry Potter and herbology class, but how could we with these plants? So
yeah, that one's like it's like on the one hand you want to, on the other hand you just don't want to talk about that at all because of.
You could talk about like Audrey too. It's a Little Shop of Horrors thing too, right?
Yeah, that's true. It is more.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
Audrey than it is herbology. Yes, 100%.
Feed me, Seymour. But no. It is obviously it would be hard not to draw some comparisons to the Devil's Snare from Harry Potter, and like just to draw just the entire premise of this show also begs the references to that franchise whose creator we shall not talk about.
Yeah. As an aside, who was I listening to? I think it was Behind the Bastards, and they were talking about how if Rowling had existed a century previous, we would just go, oh yeah, Harry Potter, that's literature, and also she was who she is, and we would treat it the way we do Lovecraft. And so I think maybe that's the way to go with it. So,
and that will be great when she's not directly profiting from the stuff and using it to further her hate.
Agreed. I get why we get a new game that's basically capture the flag with phasers and a funny mascot costume.
But why wasn't it Parisi's Squares?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm kind of glad that they chose something new, only because I tend to like. So they obviously like mentioned Parisi Squares in the last episode, or like or in the first episode.
In the first episode, it was one of the clubs you could join.
Yeah, it's clear that like they are aware, but I do appreciate when, especially in prequels or sequels, when the franchise expands rather than sort of looks backward, right? And so I appreciate that. The way in which we have sort of been, like Parisi Squares has kind of been described, doesn't really fit the metaphor. And so if it doesn't fit the metaphor, just come up with something else. But I appreciate that, like, there were some other things that they could have done that would have been fun. I think Ambujitsu would have been fun, personally, but...
Had to be a team sport. Baseball! But, yeah. By the 31st century, that's solidly gone, I think.
I mean,
yeah, I guess, like, to what extent do we know about...
They probably still play it on Cestus 3 with...
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. To what extent do we know about Parisi Squares other than, like, it injures everyone who plays it?
That's mostly all we know about Parisi Squares.
Nothing.
And they just didn't want to have, like, a whole episode in the sick bay, which, I mean, maybe Picardo had the week off, so they couldn't, but...
I don't know if it's it's a team sport, but I don't know if it's...
It is a team sport.
Like...
We know that.
But I don't know if it's the kind of team sport that they needed for this metaphor. Of course, then again, we don't know anything about it.
They could have actually made it anything as long as it was dangerous.
Yep.
But yeah, I enjoy this violent version of Capture the Flag. I like the idea that the mascot has to be the final defense.
And as somebody who's worn costumes like that, they are not defending anything. They're just standing there sweating.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it's described, like Lorthok describes it, it's that like the mascot is the final line of defense, and then they don't do anything. And so is that
They just stand there
because,
and be like, guys, help.
yeah, is that because what we saw wasn't an actual game of this sport? It was like a makeshift after hours
I do
version.
wonder if they can maybe they're in like a slightly more defensive position on the real.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in the real holodeck, they have an actual job other than just like stand there and jump.
Goalie type thing. Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny.
Why it has to be a old-fashioned mascot costume as opposed to like a holographic over rendering that you could actually move in and all of that. I feel like that's part of the game too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So I love that.
yeah, and I think we may have talked about this last week, but the when we saw the banners with the mascots. But yeah, the Lapling is obviously a reference to the Most Toys TNG episode, and the Mugatu is, well, most people will know that reference, but it's to a Private Little War, and of course the Lower Decks episode. Mugatu, Gumatu Mugatu, or Mugatu Gumatu, or something like that. It's the Lower Decks one.
It's the Lower Deck Sexy Mugatu episode, that's all. Yeah. Which they kind of reference here.
Yeah, blow my horn.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and they are perfect metaphors. Like the Mugatu versus the Lapling do really work as metaphors for War College versus the Academy too. Because they both fit the stereotype of their representative.
How are you guys feeling about how they're utilizing the fact that there's a war college existing in flux with Academy?
Well, I think this episode really establishes like very much the differences, and it does make sense that during the burn they had switched over to the war college, especially.
It was just Earth.
Yeah, this wasn't even. Yeah, they weren't even Starfleet at that point. That was that was for the Earth Defense Force, or whatever they called them. I don't think they called them the Earth Defense Force. I think that's from something else. But I guess like they folded the Earth like military into Starfleet when they rejoined the Federation. So yeah, it makes sense. They're still the two separate groups. I think the idea, though, at some point would be that they would merge into one eventually.
Yeah.
Assuming the Starfleet Academy is a successful experiment.
This feels like the Makos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it's actually one of the, for me at least, the world building elements of this show that I think is actually most clever. And not exclusively because it sort of harkens back to, as I've expressed before, my favorite time period, which is sort of the Enterprise time period. But the idea that part of treating the collapse of the Federation as an actual thing that isn't just sort of snapped up real quickly and fixed is that you have to have these existing organizations that have been around for more than a century at this point. And what does it mean to bring them all back in, right? And so the analog here is obviously, what would it be like? How does Shran become part of Starfleet, right, after the Federation is formed? I think we're kind of actually getting to see how that process works in a way that we basically never get to see in Trek, because it's either pre all of the sort of union and federating, or it's post, we're all fine now. And so I think we're actually being able to see what that might look like in a TV show, which I think is really cool.
Enterprise Season 5.
Yeah.
Lots of those vibes.
I like Jaden's joke. Jaden's joke about what is my Gach doing in... Oh, shoot.
Screaming or something?
Screaming, yeah. Yeah, and his name means he who crosses oceans of fight.
I really like the War College cadet Kyle. I love.
He's great.
He's like legitimate. He's like, no, tell me the next one. And then later, when the plants are going everywhere, he's just like looking at the plants and like enjoying. He's like the only one that's like actually enjoying it rather than freaking out.
Yeah. If the path of that character is that like sometimes people go to the wrong college freshman year and then they transfer.
Yeah.
They're doing a very good job of that.
I like that.
Yeah, that would actually be a really cool way to do that. Yeah.
Because it's
And
almost like that would parallel what he's kind of pushing with Tamira. Tarima.
Tarima.
I'm never going to get her name right.
I was saying to Benjamin earlier before you came on that I've watched a bunch of different reviews of Academy, and so many of the reviewers are pronouncing the names wrong, so don't worry too bad.
Yeah. Well,
it's early, we're still trying.
That's true.
If you're still getting it wrong in season 2, that's a problem.
Noted. So I love that the phasers are transporters.
Yeah.
In the Calica game. You know, it takes out any question of, did I get hit? Have I been hit? Was that a legit, you know?
My headcanon is they came up with that idea for Calica after the events of Picard season 3.
Yeah, why not?
Because when they were taking the ship back in Picard season 3, that's what they did. They turned the transporters into the phasers into transporters.
Yeah, I mean, if it is supposed to be a battle simulation style game,
yeah,
there's a real life scenario.
One of the people that was involved in that was later a teacher at the Academy. And you know what would be really cool? That's not my headcanon.
Take it. The other thing I really like about Calica, or the story around it, is that at no point is any of the discussion of who should be captain gendered. You know, it's just which one is better. And that is, everything is co-ed here, except the rooming, I guess.
We don't necessarily know the rooming isn't also co-ed.
That's true, we don't. We only know that Caleb and them are in. But it's there's no question of gender differential here. It's just, you know, who's the best. And
we have the Starship Troopers single locker room, you know.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. You wouldn't expect them to have.
Yeah. It's co-ed, it's co-species, it's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there you go, exactly. The different, and any physical differences between sexes, whether or not they're important for this, pale in comparison to the physical differences between the species. So, if you're not going to have the Klingon team and the Tellarite team and the Vulcan team, then you're certainly not going to have the... And especially because some of these species are not going to have the same sexes. And not all humans adhere to the gender binary either. So it makes perfect sense.
It's just nice because a lot of this, there's a feeling of sitcom trope around some of this, and that would be part of the sitcom trope, and it's not here. It's just good. You know? Yeah.
Well, and I think that it seems like the writer's room is able to do the thing that a lot of Trek that I quite like is successful at, is that this show is very clearly written in the 2020s. They're self-aware, and so they're able to do scenes like the rivalry where you watching it in 2025 can read gender politics into it quite easily because it's there. But they know that they don't have to say that because they can trust their audience to just get it. And so I think they're quite successful. Well, I mean, and if they can't, well, then I think the writer's room doesn't need to pander to that level of audience. And so I think it's one of the successful pieces that was really working well, is that they're able to do both things simultaneously. But to Chrissie's point, they're not having to put it in the text in a clunky way.
I was going to say, the people who don't know Starship Troopers is a satire, that's going right over their head. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not even going to.
Although, I imagine the Venn diagram of people who don't know Starship Troopers as a satire and people who stopped watching Academy because Nala Ake disrespects the captain's chair is a perfect circle.
That conversation has been... I had to stop looking. I would just calm the F down. Just...
Wild. I cannot fathom the mindset that that personally offends you that someone would lounge in a chair. It doesn't compute.
I would be willing to bet that some of those same people have Captain Kirk fantasies that involve doing things in that chair that are a lot more potentially disrespectful to it than lounging. So, cool it.
Things that William Riker probably did do in that chair.
There you go. There you go. That's why he pauses to look at it at the end of Generations. He's like, I could take this to my quarters on my new ship. Oh, anyway. So, our war college guy is uptight about tea.
Yes. Well, he's uptight about everything, but also
yeah,
tea.
but like, this is...
When he's talking about the correct way to stir it, just wow.
Oh,
or, no, if you must stir it, you have to do it this way.
Yeah.
You got to fold the water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it would be great if, he came to Ake's office and she just offers him a mug with a Lipton tea bag in it.
From a microwave.
Yeah.
Right. So we have the War College re-edit the video.
Yes.
With the footage from the tryouts, which is hilarious.
It is.
That is a good prank. That's the kind of prank that I'm like, I can get behind that. Nobody's going to get injured. Feelings are going to be hurt because that's the nature of a prank, but there's no chance of anybody, breaking a bone. So,
yeah.
I don't like pranks, but if it's got to be a prank, that's the kind I can.
Well, part of the reason that this is working and not hitting in a way that a mean-spirited 80s movie about pranks would hit is that no one is being targeted, right? This is a group versus group, and so it's not in group making fun of one of their own. And so I think that's why there's no bullying in this episode, which is a sort of distinction that I think the writers were probably pretty aware of.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no Revenge of the Nerds kind of.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, there's no sexual assault and grievous bodily harm like you get in Revenge of the Nerds.
Uh-huh.
Well, and it's actually leading to camaraderie within the group, right?
Yeah, yeah, and even
not isolation.
Yeah, and even a level of respect between the groups. I feel like because it's not. Yeah.
I mean, there's clearly, there's clearly still animosity between them, but yeah. I think that they definitely, the War College kids, I think, definitely have more respect for the Academy now than they did before because they show that they can hit back, and I think we'll probably, that's going to be the plot throughout the show is that they're going to the idea is, as we've watched, you watch any sort of movie or show in this vein, by the end of the show, they're going to be working together and, if not friends, certainly compatriots. Especially when it certainly seems that things have not cooled down between Caleb and Tarima.
No. That quasi see-through basketball was really getting the workout during that conversation.
Yeah, and then I love when she catches him in the Mugatu suit. She's like, I can tell it's you.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
And then and then when she activates the security.
So they have their game in the atrium.
Mm-hmm. How did they get this far without anyone catching them? Because, I know they've got signs saying it's closed for cleaning or whatever, but they're making a lot of noise.
And are you telling me that there's no holodeck to which they have access?
That's an excellent... Yeah, you'd think there would be.
Or an open conference room or something. Conference room wouldn't be big enough, but you get the idea.
Somewhere where a teacher is not just gonna happen to come upon them.
And also where they could legitimately say, like, we're practicing.
Yeah, that too.
Like,
they never really fully explained why they had to do this illicitly.
Right. I mean, I get, like, you're not supposed to, like, they're watching them because they know that there's tension. But, like, if somebody was like, okay, our Calico team is going to rent out Holodeck 3. Sign out Holodeck 3. What's the word I'm looking for? Reserve Holodeck 3.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, and we're going to invite the War College to have a little intramural game. Nobody's going to complain about that.
That is, in fact, a perfectly normal thing to do. It is, yeah, I hadn't really thought about the, like, whole ramifications of this. Why were they doing this illicit game?
Yeah. And I think there seems to be a conflict over the atrium itself and whose it is. And that confuses me because it's on the Athena, so it's the Academy's.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought of that. Well, I think part of it is probably just the War College considers everything theirs.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, even if the atrium is on the Athena, it's there because the Academy interlopers are there.
Mm-hmm.
So are the War College going to have to, like, bunk up with the Academy people now? Or are they going to add even more people to Caleb's room?
Yeah, I'm wondering about that. So Darren makes an ass of himself. As he is apt to do.
Because it's a Starfleet Academy episode. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's with Darum's henchmen, and why are they not on the team?
I do think they're labeled on IMDb. Those actors are called Darum's posse with numbers,
yes, and
it's
they're actually
very
described
funny.
as his posse at one point.
Yeah, because they got the chair.
Yeah. But it's like, who are these people, and why were they not part of the, like, why did he not bring his posse to the tryouts?
Maybe he did, and they're just bad. To return to the Hogwarts metaphor, I can't remember if Crabbe and Goyle were on the Quidditch team.
They were, actually.
Okay. Well, then that does.
Well, eventually, like, Malfoy was on there first because he was, but like once
them all,
But once it got to the point where once they were older and at an age where people are normally on the Quidditch team, because Harry and Malfoy were
That's
both
true, yeah.
young, but like in the later, I think they were beaters, I believe.
Yeah, and that makes sense for them. Okay,
I could be wrong though. It's been a minute since I've read those books.
Someone will correct us, I guarantee it.
Oh, that's true.
So then Thok and Reno come in on their way to dinner or whatever. I don't know.
Let your mind wander.
So, all right. So we should talk about this. Thok and Reno are a couple. Mm-hmm. Reno left Discovery to spend time with Thok and became a teacher to be with Thok. Also, what the heck? What do you have to do to prep a replicator to make a turducken? Why is it not just one turducken, please?
Well, presumably it must be like a coding thing, right? Like it's an algorithm or something.
But why does the replicator not have access to all of the algorithms that anyone's ever made for?
You would think it would, but we do hear about them, like, admittedly, 700 years earlier, hear about them programming the replicator for particular foods.
Yeah, no, I get that, but surely there is already a pattern for turducken. There are probably multiple patterns for turducken in the replicator.
Yeah, but maybe they should have said you forgot to program your recipe in or something. But even so, you'd think that would be like 2 minutes worth of...
Right. I'm just wondering what prepping the replicator involves. Because that's the word she used.
Well, a turducken's pretty big. So maybe she had to, like, take out a module underneath it.
Do you have to do it in stages and then glue it together like a 3D print?
Well, I wasn't quite going there, but yeah. maybe.
Perhaps the turducken is one of those things, like, you know how Deep Space Nine sort of posits that baseball is like this newly rediscovered concept? Like,
There you
maybe
go.
the turducken in the, centuries has been lost. And so it's people like, Reno and people from the past who
that
have brought
might
back the
be.
turducken.
Oh yeah.
And so, like,
Or maybe Laura Thok read about it and was like, this sounds fantastic.
yeah. And Jet was like, well, I know how to program that, and just hadn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
So they'll
But
have
part
to
of their
have-
part of their courtship is Laura Thok just finding out the like batshit things that used to happen in ancient Earth, and Jet Reno being like, I know about that.
So, as someone who has had turducken, it is overrated.
Too much. I haven't had it, but I just can't imagine it's anything other than too much. So.
Well, I mean, one would have it for like a Thanksgiving, so it's always going to be too much. It's Thanksgiving.
Well,
but
okay.
It's just like you don't get. It is impossible to cook all of those birds at the right amount for each bird. So you
Yeah,
end
I'd like
up
to
with you're going to end up with things that are overcooked, or well, hopefully overcooked instead of undercooked.
Yeah, as opposed to undercooked.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like you're gonna end up with like a kind of gross duck, and then really, really overcooked everything else. Knowing how you cook those things, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yes, the center is the part that cooks the last, and yes, you're gonna have the driest turkey you've ever had.
Yeah.
Or salmonella.
I suppose that is an option. Like they don't even these days they don't even recommend that you make the stuffing in the turkey, much less another bird.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that they as a couple are sort of, just mentioned in a couple different dropped lines in this episode, because this reminds me of what used to be in sort of we'll call it the quote good old days of like Pocketbook, where like the like courtship of these two and their like relationship would be an away mission in like a 250-page Pocketbook in 1998. Where we would learn all this, and then it wouldn't like really have to matter to anybody, but if you wanted to, here's this release for you. That's what that felt like to me a lot. Is that like they're putting all these little like nuggets, but that's all you're gonna get.
And if it was a wharf romance, in like 3 books later, the romantic interest is gonna die. In the that's how it usually worked.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it felt like to me. It was like charming, I thought.
Oh, so you okay? So I was reading that as you were thinking negative, like they weren't going to flesh it out and leave themselves plausible deniability, which I did not.
Oh no!
Oh.
They clearly established that they are a
Okay.
couple.
Okay. All right.
Very fair. Yeah, no, I guess what I meant was like instead of having to do a whole because we're never going to get a whole episode on it. It's just not gonna it's just never gonna happen. They can just be like, no, it's an existing fact, and if you want to know more information, like in the days where like Trek publishing was a much bigger deal, this would have been its own little book.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Oh,
But
yeah,
fair, because I think in a prior time, what you said would have been more likely. I think we've delightfully moved past that time.
Thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, when Reno talks about how she left her job for.
Oh yeah.
And they call each other love. I mean, yeah, no, they're clearly a couple.
I'm not thinking. I was misunderstanding Benjamin.
I love it because you're just seeing these two people as a couple. It's not a plot point. It's just part of who they are. And that's great. That's how they should do it. That's how they do it for straight couples. So
exactly. Well, yeah. I think we were mentioning the millennial thing. I think in a way that for maybe our parents' generation or our grandparents' generation have to make a point of recognizing like, oh look, there's an interracial couple. We do the same thing for same-sex couples, I think. And it's not a matter of, it's not a bias thing. It's isn't it nice that we're seeing that and it was a problem when we were younger, for people. So I think that's, maybe we're just extra aware of it.
I certainly wasn't watching TV shows with queer couples in the 90s.
Almost no one was because there were very few.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but
Almost
even
no
just
one
in
was
day-to-day
because
life.
it took Will and Grace like 3 or 4 seasons to even get there, and that was about it. So like, no, I think that's a really like trenchant point, and it's something that has been really nice to live through. Is that the franchise that I like has, I think, fully flipped over
Yes.
into a post sort of our age understanding of what this is, and so we're now in a way that maybe they are still trying to wink at the audience between like the gender politics of who's going to be captain of the team. They're not having to wink about like sexual orientation in Trek anymore, which is kind of nice. And it's frankly because of a lot of work that Discovery stuck its neck out to do for us that we can now live in this universe where we don't have to do it anymore.
Yep.
Well, excuse me though, but this all means that this is too woke and it needs to be shut off right now.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Yep.
They're shoving it down our throats, Benjamin.
I
Take that however you want to.
It's, that people who say things like that just have to use that particular phrase, particularly when they're talking about gay relationships. And I'm just like, people, do you not hear yourselves? Do you not hear yourselves? No. And they don't. Is anybody else bothered by the idea that you could replicate somebody's eye?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Well,
don't like that at all.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those like Reddit post implication things that you would have seen back in the day of like, if you can make a fully cooked piece of meat, or you could make like a not cooked piece of meat. I think it's clearly not a case of like we can't do it. It's that we're not allowed, or there are like limitations on the ability. And so it seems like they or like they know better. And so I think that like a clandestine breaking rules student pulling this off makes sense because like they don't know better, they're breaking the rules. It's still really gross though.
It's gross when he's got the eye up there, and it's gross in its implications. And yeah,
I do like as a going back a little bit when we first find out that you need the eye when Ake is going to his office to have tea, and she says you have serious security, and he responds, well, we tried having funny security, but no one felt safe.
See, I just there's moments he has those little just the dry humor moments, and I like that. So
I think it was like I said, I've been watching a lot of reviews from other people. I don't watch many for the episode that we talk about because I don't want to like completely take other people's opinions and make them my own.
Watch it
But
after.
I've watched a bunch of reviews of the first 2 episodes, and I think it was Trek Culture that is saying that he's very much an Arnold Rimmer character.
Okay, you gotta give me a reference there.
Red Dwarf.
Oh, I never saw that.
You never saw Red Dwarf? Okay. Benjamin knows what I'm talking about.
Sorry.
I have not seen Red Dwarf.
You were a PBS kid in the 90s and you never saw Red Dwarf?
It was not on my affiliate. I was too busy with my keeping up appearances.
Okay, never mind. So, listeners,
That's
those
all right.
of you
Sorry.
who have watched Red Dwarf will get the reference and understand.
So my understanding of a retina actually is that you can't do what they did in this episode with current technology. So like, Star Trek. But like the part of the retina scan is not from your DNA; it's from the blood vessel development as a fetus.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so like they've clearly developed new technology. Who would have known in Star Trek?
Yeah, because you'd think he would have needed to get from the eye rather than just any of his DNA. Yeah. In the same way, I don't think. Same way, if you were to clone a person, they wouldn't have your fingerprints either. I don't think.
I think that's true as well.
I don't know. Don't think too hard about it. We're teching the tech here.
He was making an eye in a pool of gobbledygook. I think it's
Are you telling
Programmable
Star Trek
biometric
fans
gel.
not to think too hard about it?
I regularly have to tell, including myself, not to think too hard about it.
We have it up on the wall like one of those inspirational plaques.
Don't think too hard. Actually, the number of times I've said that to students about things, don't think too hard, I should have that on an inspirational poster on the wall.
So yeah, they use the eye to get in, and then Sam is the one that's that's planting all the plants.
Beautiful.
So Sam is a hologram, but like, is Sam beaming herself with a transporter because like the plant seeds aren't holograms?
I got the impression that she swapped with the security hologram, because he disappears and then she appears.
Right. So where did the seeds come from?
Oh, I thought that was something maybe the War College was already working on for one of their classes, so they had him in their dorms. Because she was only spraying the Miracle Grow stuff.
Okay, but where did the Miracle Grow stuff come from?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't know.
Is this like a can you eat the sandwich on the holodeck
Yeah.
conversation? Because
Yeah, well, you can, because it turns it into a replicated... Yeah, anyway.
Well, okay, we know that there are holographic projectors all around. Maybe she did just beam herself in.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe they just turned off the guy instead of
Yeah, I think they
swapping
turned
the
off, because like, he goes
Yeah.
away, and then it's not like she immediately replaces him. She just also pops in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe she is beaming herself. Does she have like, transporter like built into her whatever hologram matrix that she can also just beam herself in whatever she's holding somewhere? I mean,
Was she wearing
we
her
don't know if she
combat?
doesn't.
I can't remember if she was wearing a comm. I suppose she wouldn't be, because then they'd be able to track her. But, I mean, they can all beam themselves wherever they feel like it, so...
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, the Vitus Reflux definitely refluxes.
She is not wearing her combat. No, she is.
Okay.
She is. So, yeah.
There we go. Does she have a real comm badge, or is it a holographic comm badge that she makes that works like a comm badge? Sort of like Odo's comm badge in DS9, where he, like, makes his goo comm badge.
I have never understood that, because how does he can't get a
How can he
humanoid
do that
face,
and not
right?
do a face, right?
But he can get the internal circuitry that actually functions. I always assumed he just had a comm badge that whenever he gooed, it just, like, he just pulled it
Yeah, but you
into
never
himself.
see it, like, fall to the floor or something when he turns into goo, so...
No, because he pulls it into himself.
Okay, but then, like, when he's, like, sliding through a crack or whatever, how does the comm badge go? That's what,
Don't
like,
think
I've
too
always
hard.
wondered whether it's a goo comm badge or not. But regardless, he does, like, the individual fibers in his uniform, but he still can't make a face. He can make a perfect bird that can fly, but he still can't make a face. Anyway...
The seagulls might not agree.
That's fair. He can turn himself into a cloud.
The clouds might not agree. I don't know.
Anyway.
Ask the cloud minders. I don't know.
I like the idea that in the writer's room, this is what's happening, and then there's someone there who's like, who's like a.
This is absolutely what's happening in the writers' room.
100%.
But there's somebody who's like also a co-exec in the room, being like, we have to do something today, guys. Like, write,
Yeah.
please write the episode.
I can see Tawny Newsome having both of those roles at different times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Down the
Being part
rabbit
of a
hole,
lot-
but also like, all right, enough. We just have to tech the tech.
But I also see Kirsten Beyer trying, like, providing all the information, but also, like, really trying to wrangle these people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, and we apparently have Benjamin to wrangle us this week.
Yeah. Sorry, Benjamin.
This is often my role, and I'm okay with it.
We're glad. So, yeah, so Terima stops Caleb in his Mogatu suit on the way out to have a heart-to-heart, but it's really just, it's to have a heart-to-heart, but also she takes the opportunity to distract him long enough to set off the alarm.
Yes.
So I think it's genuine, but also, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, it was a genuine conversation that they had, and I'm glad to see that they are, that they have reconciled.
Yeah. They're adorable together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the actors really have chemistry that is elevating what could be a very dreadful sort of like will they won't they into something that's not cringy.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I ship Karima. Or is it Taleb? I think Karima sounds better than Taleb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Taleb? No. Tarima.
Yeah, for all
Some
of
people's names that works for, some people it doesn't. You just gotta go with it.
yeah.
Not everybody can be Bennifer.
There's a millennial reference.
That one absolutely won.
Also, I think the first time that was widely done.
There are a couple things that hit right when the internet became a social zeitgeist machine, and I feel like Bennifer was right at that time.
Yes. I would argue that Spurk predates Bennifer.
It does, but within a much smaller population, so I don't...
You had to get someone to
don't
send
disagree.
you that zine if you wanted to know about
That's
stuff.
true.
You had to go to the wise elders.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my question. The War College has to have known that those things were endangered or something, because wouldn't you think the members of the War College, with the, being the War College, their first reaction might be to punch the plants back or something? Nobody attacks the plants, so they must know.
Well, I don't think they have any. Their first reaction is that they have to get out of the situation.
Yeah, that's true.
But yes, I do very much like. What is the War College?
Karim? Kelrick. Excuse me.
Kelrick. Yeah, I do like. He's immediately like, nope, these are endangered species. We can't do anything, and then he admits defeat.
I feel like it
Point
buys back his
to the
character.
gang.
Yeah, it buys back his character a little bit, because I think he's trying to also do what Ake's been doing, is that he's he's teaching in that moment that, like,
Yeah,
this is what defeat looks like. Grow up so that tomorrow you can have victory again. Like, I thought that was actually quite nice and, like, subtly done.
He says that it flat out, that we learn more from our mistakes than our successes, or something to that effect earlier. So I do appreciate, because on my first watch of this episode, I expected that at the end Ake was going to be like, that was not at all what I was telling you to do, and it turns out it was exactly, and I love that. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I really like, because what we're seeing here is that while we are showing the War College teachers and kids as a foil, they are not an antagonist, and I like that a lot.
Yeah,
because they could have set this up to be like the start of even more ridiculous, escalating further from here, but they didn't.
You know what this suddenly reminded me of was what you hear about when on the set on Next Gen.
Mm-hmm.
The good-natured pranks and familial friendliness, and it took a little while to get there, but there it was. I don't know, that just popped in my head.
Yeah, like, apparently it took him like a year or so to make Patrick Stewart start to, like, actually not take things completely straight-laced serious all the time.
Yeah, and I can understand that, given his background.
Yeah, I think if the goal of this episode was to say that we have a war college and an academy, and the students at both and the leadership at both don't really like each other, but they have a baseline respect for each other, I think it was a success. And, like, that's a different place than we started, and that's a place where you can tell stories that aren't just childish nonsense anymore. But also they don't have to be, this isn't 3 episodes of Voyager and everyone's fine now, like, on this ship. Like, you can still have rivalry in ways that'll be interesting.
Not all opponents are enemies.
Yeah.
Hey, it took them a season. They just didn't talk about it much for most of that season.
Yeah. But, maybe student at the War College Kyle and Jaden from the Academy bond over plants at some point, because they've both expressed in this episode an interest in them.
Yeah, Jaden can tell him that second joke.
Yeah. And here I'm seeing another missed opportunity for merchandising, the workout pants and the hoodie that Caleb is wearing when he's talking to
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, no, I want the hoodie.
With the stripes. Yeah.
I want the hoodie. I want the varsity jacket. I want the pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
Get on it, Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
When you get them, are you going to try to hide the zipper?
Merchandising.
I'm fine with the zipper on the jacket. That makes sense. If the zipper on the uniforms is the one that I don't like. Even if it is in a Delta, I don't like how prominent it is.
Sometimes old-fashioned is better.
Don't tell Gene Roddenberry that.
His costumers knew that.
His costumers wouldn't have dared to use a zipper when he was alive.
Okay, that's true. There are some things that are, once you figure it out, it is the best way to do things. We have yet to figure out a better version of a button, right? There's all sorts of different variations on buttons, but the basic, button in a buttonhole has been the same since it was invented. So, zippers.
Shoelaces,
yeah. So.
The best way to eat a chicken inside of a duck inside of a turkey is a turducken.
Exactly. See, you know what? The best way to do that is to cook them all separately.
Yes.
And then cut them, and you can put a metaphorical zipper on it to bring them together.
I think you're onto something.
I do think replicated turducken would be the solution, though, because you could replicate it in such a way that all three are perfectly cooked.
Yeah. Because it's a replicator.
Yeah.
And you can do anything with a replicator.
Exactly.
Oh, anyway.
What do you think they would have filled the chicken with?
For those two? Something bloody.
Well, yeah. I did enjoy the conversation that Jaden was having with Caleb about how all his food needs to be bloody.
Yeah, in talking about like the younger cast who are really sort of punching above their script, I feel like Jaden's is it Kareem, the actor, Jaden's actor is really, I think, delivering the goods from what he's been getting in his script.
Yeah.
He's also loving being on Star Trek. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you absolutely should.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, he's nerding out along with the rest of us. Oh. Do we know who, the dedication is?
Yes.
Okay.
Carla Mingiardi was one of the costuming people on Discovery, and she passed away.
Yeah, if people want to look, the family does have an obituary. She actually passed in 2024. But in addition to Academy, Discovery, and Short Treks, she was actually a costume cutter on Nightmare Alley, the movie, which was nominated for Oscar, Saturn's, BAFTAs, and Critics' Choice Awards for costume design. And the television show What We Do in the Shadows, which again was nominated for multiple Emmys for costuming.
Oh, nice.
So seems like she had quite a significant career.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was in 2024 just tells you how long they've been working on this show.
Which is fine. That shows too. There is that argument to be had, and I've seen it in many places, about how part of what makes Star Trek is that week to week, month to month of having to produce so many episodes, and you end up with filler episodes that turn out to be very important ones. And I don't disagree with that, but at the same time,
I do enjoy a bunch of those old filler episodes. I mean, also many of them were terrible, but there were some really good ones too.
So there's advantages on both sides, but I'm a person who likes having more preparation, I guess you could say.
I mean, Chrissie, do we want them to be doing week to week Star Trek?
No. No, I don't have time for that in my life. It's barely. We did that.
Yeah, we did that. There was that year we had like 54 episodes, and that was.
Yeah. Not doing that again.
All right, so I think it covers pretty much everything I wanted to say about this episode. It was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. I like how this show is, while there is obviously an overarching story. I like how this show is sort of taking the Strange New Worlds-esque approach where they're doing more episodic things.
I like the lesson here. You learn about your opponents with empathy, and you disarm them instead of overcoming them with violence, as Ake explains it. We briefly mentioned that Darum's parents are jerks and expect him to make no mistakes. And I just wanted to make sure that we touched on that, because that really is a lot of... You can see that in his character.
Yeah.
You know, we've all known people like that in our lives, you know, and you can see that. So I think that's going to flesh him out more.
Genesis's father is also a bit of a jerk.
Although at least he appears to talk to her.
Yes. I figure we'll probably meet him at some point in the show, just because he is a Starfleet Admiral, so I assume he'll show up.
Well, and it seems like from this episode, they're kind of setting up that they both have parental issues, but it seems like Genesis might be more... Like, we might end up realizing that Admiral's, like, great, but it's just a structural expectation is too grand, right?
Yeah.
To sort of deal with, whereas from sort of Darum's point of view, it seems like other than his parents, his background has really advantaged him, and so maybe his is like the expectation is solely from his parents, no expectations from anywhere else. It is interesting because Darum is a character that is like lab designed for me to loathe, just like every quality of that specifically. And so it's really interesting for George Hawkins, who plays it so well. I'm wondering sort of to what angle we're going to do the like redeemable a-hole route here, because like it's reading right now a good way, because it's reading far more like Prince Zuko from Last Airbender, as opposed to like other, you know, redeemable folks that are like, well, you're not actually redeemed. You just sort of like suffered for a couple episodes, and so now we have to like you for some reason. It seems to be going in the right direction.
I'm still mad the show redeemed Zuko, though. Actually,
Did the show redeem Zuko, or did Zuko redeem himself through his actions?
No, listen, it was written well, and he is a good character, but I didn't want to forgive him.
I haven't seen this, so yeah.
But anyway, I think because Darum and Genesis are in many ways cut from the same cloth, but they went in very different directions, and I think that's an interesting way to do it.
Yep. So good episode. Like I said, not my favorite overall, but we've only had 3, so you know.
I think I'd be very happy if this was like the baseline episode at the end of the season, right? Like if this was like right in the middle of all of them, I feel like I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you online? Do you have any current or upcoming work you want to mention?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me back as well. I really enjoy the way that you guys discuss Trek, and it's always fun to hang out with you guys for a bit. I'll actually be soon hanging out with some of your BQN colleagues over at the Trek Masters game show on Saturday, January 31st. And so wherever you consume your great BQN podcasts and YouTube shows, feel free to join us there. But otherwise, I do write a bit about Trek, and so that can all be found at my website, nascentnovice.com. We finished up a project that I think I talked a little bit about last time we were together, which was San Francisco 2161, about the conference that created the United Federation of Planets. And right now we are releasing chapters of another novel-length fan nonfiction called The Last Founder, The Presidency of Jonathan Archer. And so we are looking through what that presidency might have looked like, and what Archer's ability to do things would look like in sort of the very first days of the Federation. And so it's been really fun to talk to people over there. It's been obviously increased attention because of the sort of various pitches that have come out and to light about Star Trek United. But this is a very different story, and so people can get a couple different flavors of what Archer may have been like.
Nice. Chrissie, where can people find you when you're not folding the water in your tea?
in addition to here on Infinite Diversity, people can find me over on History with the Szilagyi. That's that historical podcast I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. He just posted up a discussion of what's the beginning of a discussion of what's going on in Iran right now. So good background on that will be continuing. And I'm, of course, happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook and in the Discord. And I'm on the various socials as The Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLavia, where you can see my opinions about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Thad, where can people find you when you're not putting together a Mugatu costume from memory?
Best place to find links to everything for me is on my website, tyrannicus.net. That's tyranicus.net. And you can listen to me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called License to Spiel. That's License to Spell the C like the British do it, where we started out talking about James Bond and through a roundabout way are now covering every episode of Columbo.
Don't forget about all of our other great shows here on the BQN. Here's a recording of Amy to tell you all about them.
What's happening on BQN, you ask? We're not just a network. We're a universe of exploration, entertainment, and deep dives into the topics you love. Here's your star map to the sonic adventures awaiting you. Let's chart the Star Trek cosmos with all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with the insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. From classic to current, they cover it all. Galaxy class, engage! Stephen and Stefan pilots this Alpha Quadrant mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Infinite Diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek frontiers alongside Chrissie and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiance lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front, discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. Delve into a rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the tea, Bev? Christos spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as podcasts are Trek Masters. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show. And the View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of a Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. But beyond the final frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Szilagys. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissie and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe and transformational journeys. Host Lex Rosa explores what it means to embrace authenticity in the face of societal expectations. You can unlock deeper levels of engagement with our exclusive patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. You can also now watch All Good Things as an extended video edit and get a background look into the creation of a podcast. Also, check out our back catalog of It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Stay connected to our ever-expanding galaxy of content by following BQN Podcasts on Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Discord. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Mark White for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
If you'd like to reach out, you can find the network on the socials at BQN Podcast or our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, and in our Discord server. When you next hear from us, we'll be talking about Starfleet Academy's next episode, Vox in Excelso. Until then, we bid you peace and long life.